Welcome back. Episode 27. And we're here with one of Wisconsin's very own. And like we were talking about before we hit record on this, this is what a podcast is about, getting to know the people around this area and realize that there's so many good things and good barbecue that happen right in this state. And this is even so awesome because we met this individual at MeatFest last weekend. And he has a podcast too. He has way more episodes than we do, but we just hit it off. And he is an awesome guy. We all bought spices and rubs and everything from him. But the fact that he is a veteran, and what his company does for the veterans and military is remarkable. And we had to have him on, and he agreed. And so I'm going to little introduction here. And then we are going to rock and roll with Ben here. So we welcome Burn Pit BBQ, veteran-owned and locally made. A veteran-owned company based in Wisconsin, Burn Pit BBQ is committed to using only high-quality ingredients to provide flavorful products, all while giving back to the veteran community, one barbecued goodness bite at a time. Turn your backyard into the spot for amazing barbecue using Burn Pit BBQ sauces, rubs, and seasonings. Originally founded to make grilling less intimidating, this hobby turned passion, turned business, started out as a blog to connect grill enthusiasts across the country and provide a community among them. Launched in 2020, Marine Corps veteran Greg Fisher and Navy sailor Ben Kreppel realized that all the tips, tricks, and recipes out there focus on sauces and rubs that use a ton of artificial ingredients. So we're here to hear this story. Ben, we welcome you, co-owner of Burn Pit BBQ. We thank you for your service, and we welcome you on the podcast. Welcome, Ben.
Heck yeah, no, I appreciate that. No, thank you guys. I appreciate you having me, to be honest. This is awesome.
All right. I'm going to start it off with questions here. But before I get started, actually, I wanted to say I bought some of your seasonings last weekend or 2 weekends ago, whenever it was. And I made 2 racks of ribs yesterday, one with the savory and one with the sweet heat. Nice. And phenomenal. My dad said they were the best ribs he ever had.
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much.
Super good. I think I like the savory ones a little bit better, but they were both super good.
No, that's awesome. Like the sweet heat is one of our top ones for pork and stuff. So how'd you do it? Like, did you do any kind of marinade? Did you soak them at all? Did you like in Dr. Pepper or anything crazy, or just dice them up and just let them ride?
Nothing crazy. I really just put them on. I was at the state track meet. I got home probably 10:45 at night on Saturday night. We had a grocery pickup order Sunday morning, so I didn't have any time to do anything really special or crazy. Just put the seasoning on, put them on the smoker, and that was that.
Man, sometimes that's the best stuff. It's like you just go in your fridge, like, wow, man, what do we got? What do we have to work with? You're like, oh no.
Yeah. No, they were phenomenal. So they will be used again and purchased again probably soon when we run out.
I appreciate that. Well, I'm glad they turned out. That's always a plus. That's the hardest part, right?
Yes. Didn't mess it up too bad. But yeah, so we'll get started with my question. Now, we all have our unique journey. We all started different ways. There's different things that brought us into barbecue. Can you kind of talk about what got you started, what led you to where you are, people that helped you along the way, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, not at all. So Greg and I, we went to college together. We played college soccer together, and after that, it just kind of we were kind of looking for ways to continue hang out and stuff. And we bought a house, and it was almost diagonal in the subdivision, where my house was here and Greg's house was there. We could walk. It was great. I could see his backyard, his front yard from my backyard and stuff. It was perfect and stuff. And we were like, all right, well, let's, what are we going to do? We started cooking. We literally just started kind of cooking and grilling and stuff. And, honestly, anything. My grandma, she gave me when we first bought our house, she was like, she wanted to send me money for a housewarming gift, and she's like, make sure you buy something like that, get something that you want. And that's when I bought my first 22-inch Weber kettle. I still have it. I use it all the time. It's things 11, 12 years old now, and it's just, man, I still use it as much as I possibly can and stuff. It's one of my favorite grills. But from there, you just kind of start simple, burgers, some hot dogs, brats and stuff like that. And then it just became when I started reading more, and I was like, holy cow, there's so much you can do with this, right? Like it's not, not just like your pork chops or even, just kind of the steaks, and you can do ribs, but then you can do ribs like 5 different ways, and now you can do like the party ribs, and it's just like this whole, and it's like, I swear to God, I could do ribs like 7 days a week, and every single day, even if I tried to make them the same, they're gonna be different. And like that, to me, it was just like this, like it just started like this game, like this kind of sick and twisted game that you just dive headfirst into. And that, so like, and so Greg and I, like, we'd get our families together and we would try different things, or we'd kind of talk and like ahead of time, like, hey, let's just do, let's do something different. Let's find something that's weird, unique, off the wall, and let's give it a go this weekend. I'm like, all right. So we kind of started with that, and then as we go, like, kind of got further and further into it, it's like, all right, well, let's kind of try making our own sauce and see what happens, and let's start doing our own rubs. And because there were times too where we would use rubs, and like your fingers would get all swollen. I'd be all just like, I wouldn't feel great afterwards. I'm like, man, I swear, like, this meat should taste a lot better. I'm paying a lot of money for this meat. It tastes like, it's good, but it's not like what I'm looking for and stuff. And so then we kind of started to like dive into the ingredients and stuff. And like, you're reading the back of the labels and you're just like, man, I can't pronounce half this stuff. It's a science experiment. I don't know what this is. Like, why am I using this? And so that's kind of when we started to really like just dive headfirst into that and start like kind of, all right, well, why can't I make this? It was like, well, we can figure this out. We're smart guys. Like, we can figure this out, right? So it just, again, we got deeper into the game. And then, we decided one day, like we went out, Greg was like, hey man, I got this idea. And we went out golfing, and he's like, I think we should start a barbecue sauce and rub company. I'm like, what do you mean? like he's like, well, we already do that stuff now. Like we've been making it for a while. We've got a solid, kind of lineup and stuff that we can run with, and let's give it a go. And he's like, just think about it. See, give it, so I sat on it for about 2 weeks, and yeah, we decided. I was like, all right, let's jump into it. We started off with like 3 products. We kept it pretty light to start, and I remember like we did our first like event, and it was like at this smaller kind of flower shop out in like, it's called Twins out in like New Berlin area. I think we did like $500 in sales that day. I was like, no way, man, do you believe this? Like, like, holy cow, look at this. And we just kind of, I don't know, just ran with it from there, man. I mean, that's just kind of how we got started and stuff. Like I said, just grilling ourselves in the backyard and seeing what else we could do and trying new things. And then like I said, once we started the business, then you get to talk to more and more people, like getting to meet you guys and stuff, and like, talking to like barbecue all the time. It's just like, man, this is awesome.
So Greg, is that his name?
Yeah. Yep.
Are you guys still neighbors?
He moved. No, he moved. He moved away. So it's probably for the better. It's probably for no, he's only less than 10 minutes away, so it's not that bad.
That's awesome. You mentioned like you wanted to get away from some of those ingredients you can't pronounce and all that whatever's in there and stuff. So your mission emphasizes wholesome ingredients with no artificial additives. What kind of motivated that commitment, and how do you ensure the sourcing of your ingredients? Yeah,
so like I said, Greg and I, we were athletes and stuff, and it was like one of those things too where like we just kind of decided like we don't really need all these additives. We don't need all like this stuff in there that's like why do I need this? And we're like, well, we're paying enough for the meat. I want to taste the meat, and I just want this to be there to enhance it, not overpower it, right? So that was kind of like our purpose to like, you can still have good barbecue, and you don't need to have like kind of all this stuff in there. And we get to talk to a ton of people on like the competition circuit, which is super cool. And they always tell us like, hey, like I would never use your stuff for a competition stuff, but that's what I'd use to cook for my family when I'm cooking at home. It's like, well, that's why we did this, right? Like this is stuff that we want to be proud of and feed to our families and stuff. And You know, we don't have any MSG. We don't have any anti-caking. You know, it's all natural. It's all gluten-free. I mean, so like we try and kind of cover like our bases and stuff and make sure, you know, if you're celiac and stuff, like you can have this, right? Like, you know, why not? So we use a bottler up in Hudson, Wisconsin. And so that way, like, you know, we don't have to be in the kitchen all the time, because let me tell you, like it takes a while and stuff. But like we've gone up there, we've met with them and stuff. I mean, it was kind of a process when we first got started, and like kind of why we picked them. But we picked them for a reason. You know, we know that they're sourcing the good quality ingredients and stuff, and they have our recipes and they run with it, and they, you know, they do a really, really good job. And I mean, so far, you know, knock on wood, but like, I mean, we've never had any issues with them. You know, and for the amount of stuff that we do through them, and other companies use them as well and stuff. And like I said, I mean, we're really proud too that we can just say that everything's made and bottled here in the state of Wisconsin. So that was a big,
cool.
you know, kind of another selling point of why we use them and stuff.
Nice. And you got Sheehan's father as quality control. He just had the best ribs of his life. So.
Good. Yeah. Well, he's hired. Tell him we'll give him a cut, you know?
Yeah. All right. Next question. Beyond your annual backyard barbecue bash fundraiser, is there anything else going on? Any other initiatives or partnerships maybe you got to support veteran organizations or bring just awareness to burn pit issues?
Yeah. So we've done in the past, we had a couple of hot sauces that we ran with, and with those ones we would do each one. There were two of them that we had where we had labels, or like kind of other companies like logos on there, and we would donate a portion of those sales back to those veteran-owned nonprofits. So and one was Lift for the 22. That's big, obviously around Wisconsin, and so we worked with them in the past. We'd done our initial fundraiser was like the very first year we ever did it was for them. And so I mean, we like I said, we partnered with a couple of people. Right now, this is our 5th year doing the backyard bash, the competition, and it just continues to grow. And so that's kind of really like, we kind of got away from the hot sauces a bit, and it just got back to like, hey, let's just kind of focus on barbecue. The hot sauces are fun, and they bring in like a good crowd and stuff, but it was just like, let's get back to kind of just like just the barbecue. So we pulled it back, and then, you know, like I said too, like the competition has really become like our main focus, because it just continues to get bigger and bigger. And I mean, I think we just opened it up, the sign up sheet for teams, I think right after Memorial Day, and we've already got like 11 or 12 teams signed up. So I think last year we had 18 teams signed up. We had one or I think three that ended up like backing out. Kind of, some were last minute, some had family issues and stuff like that. I like when we get that and stuff, and you know, it happens. So but yeah, I mean, we're excited. Like year number 5, I'm not sure I ever thought it would get to year number 5. But it just continues to grow and build, and it's really a good time.
That's awesome. I think we need to sign up, don't we, guys?
Yeah.
We talked about it. That's for sure. So that's awesome.
Even if you don't sign up, just come down. For sure, come out and stuff. But yeah, we'd love to have you. Like I said, we'd love to have you guys. It's, you know, if you ask Greg, he says like it's pretty serious. Like to me, it's, I don't know. The one lady came up to me last year and she's like, "Have you caught anybody cheating?" I was like, "What do you mean cheating?" Like, not wanting, I'm not basing like that. You get the meat provided like the day of. You can't really tamper with it or do anything like cheating. Mm-hmm. It's barbecue. I don't know. Like you're taking it too serious.
So Ben, I'm going to go off script here, and I'm sure my partners are rolling their eyes at me right now. But one of the things too that you and I discussed a little bit at MeatFest, and you know, my original question for number 4, because I'm always interested in like the pit masters you follow, and you know, on social media and things like this. But I'm also, since we're a podcast, I was wondering if could you talk a little bit about your podcast? And did I see that right? You have like 170 some episodes.
Yeah. I mean, we've tried to be pretty consistent with it. We do like an episode a week. So they're pretty short, they're pretty quick. Usually anywhere from like 15 to 30 minutes, something like that. Kind of depends on, I guess, the topic and where it goes. But yeah, I mean, we've had the podcast. It's called Grilling to Get Away, because Greg and I started like, why do we grill? Well, we do it to get away. Just step back a little bit and stuff. So we started. We've had a couple of cool people on and stuff, but most of the time it's just kind of Greg and I. We do it down in his basement. It's really
cool.
Just a couple of guys down in the basement talking barbecue. And we just talk like different tips, different tricks, like stuff that like we're trying out, or stuff like going out to like events and mention you guys, meeting you guys there and stuff. Just like who we get to talk to and like what we hear like them doing. You get to talk to so many people about barbecue and stuff, and like it's just like how you do your ribs is different than how I do my ribs, right? And like that's like the cool part about it and stuff. And like you get to hear so many stories or techniques or tips or like do this, and everyone has their opinion on it and they're always willing to share.
Yeah.
So it's just you just kind of sit back and you take. I always like to write them down. I'm like, oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. I gotta make sure to bring this up on the podcast and stuff. So it's that's we kind of started just because when I remember like when Greg and I first started barbecuing and stuff, like we were part of like the Facebook pages and stuff like that, and you'd go to like, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I can't tell you how many hamburgers I turned into hockey pucks and stuff like that. Like, just, I'm trying to learn and ask these questions, and you post a question out there and you just get blasted. I'm like, man, this is stupid. Like, so when we were starting the business, like we wanted to create like this space that's literally almost more kind of geared towards like the beginning barbecuers. Cause like, that's what we were at one point. Right. And like, I was like, what do you wish like that you had when you first started, like somewhere where you could go and ask questions, and like we have like the Facebook page and kind of the social media stuff like that, and like we ask people to share their stuff all the time, and we want to be like a safe space for everyone to ask questions, because that's again, and we have some awesome people out there that have been grilling for 20-30 years, and like they'll put stuff in, you're like, oh man, I never even thought of that. That's awesome. So that's kind of why we started the podcast, and even like Burn Pit in general and stuff, just because majority of the time you're going to cook for friends and family and stuff, and that's what we like to talk about, is sharing our stories, like stuff that like I just we tried that works, stuff that doesn't work, because that happens and stuff, and like what we don't really kind of give it like a rating too much, like our food, just it's more so like what would you do different next time, so which is kind of like, that's kind of the way I like to go about it. Because like then you get too critical, and then it's the whole point is just to have a good time, like not take it too serious. I mean, you're in the backyard grilling, like not much better than that, what I mean? So, but yeah, that was kind of why we started the podcast. We'll just kind of go through and if we hear some cool recipe that somebody brings up at like an event, I mean, usually Greg or I will try it, and then we'll have a whole conversation and kind of talk about that on the podcast and stuff.
Awesome.
Nice. Learning opportunities, not failures.
Well, yeah. I mean, trust me, they're all learning opportunities. They always be better, I guess. But,
they keep coming.
They sure do. They definitely do. I tried doing. My parents were in town over the weekend. They live up in northern Michigan and stuff, and they were here, and I tried doing like potatoes. I was just gonna do like just kind of cube them up, and usually like I'll do them in like some tin foil, right? And I was like, well, I've got some butchered paper, some peach paper and stuff. I was like, what if I wrapped it in that? And that way it allows the smoke to kind of come through. So you get more of like that smoke flavor in there. It took forever. It was a horrible idea. It didn't work. And my dad was like, "Oh, this is cool. Do you do this all the time?" I was like, "I've never done this before." It's just so it happens. It is what it is. Like well, we got barbecue sauce and we got ketchup. Which one do you want?
Make anything taste good.
Absolutely. There's always sauce. That's why we came out with the sauce line, because you know what? You have those days where it's just like, well, I'm just gonna throw some sauce on it.
Yes. Speaking of sauces, we saw your booth and it was packed almost all day at MeatFest with a whole lineup of sauces and rubs. Which of those would you recommend as a must try if somebody is just trying out any of your products, and why would you choose that?
So a must try. If you're gonna go with a sauce, I mean, we've got 3 of them. So it all depends. Like this is the part where I suck at. Like people come up and ask me all the time, like, oh, like what's your favorite? It's like, well, I don't know. Like, first of all, it's my business. They're all my favorite, you know. They're all my favorite. But I just tell them like it really depends like what I'm cooking and who I'm cooking for. Because you have the people that don't like spicy and stuff like that. So it's like we try to have something for everybody. But I would say like kind of, you know, for the sauces, it's probably our pogie bait. It's the our sweet honey sauce. It's our top seller. And it's none of our sauces are super thick either. So you can get it just like if you're doing like ribs, just there's a little bit on and just kind of paint it on there. So you get some of like that barbecue flavor and stuff. And it's not just going to sit and glob and be all clumpy and thick on top and burn. And like, it's not what we're going for. You know, I want to taste like the barbecue sauce, but I don't want it to be like all I taste. So as far as like ribs or like rubs go, man, I probably tend to use our ground pounder. That's our garlic seasoning, probably the most, but like that's one you can cook with like every single day. You know, if you're doing stuff on the grill, off the grill, I mean, you can beef, pork, chicken, vegetables. I'll put it on my eggs in the morning and stuff. Like you can just you can put it on whatever. But like for more of like kind of that traditional barbecue rub, I'd say either like our Memphis style, or the sweet heat. Those are two that most, yeah.
I like the sweet heat.
Yeah. Thank you. I use it a lot. We just did pork chops yesterday. My parents were in town. That's what I ran with. And I put the sweet heat on it and stuff. I mean, you can, you know, it pairs really well with the pork. And like, you know, for beginning barbecues, like barbecuers and stuff, like, man, you really can't go too wrong with starting off with like, you know, a pork shoulder or a butt or something like that. And, you know, they got enough fat in there. Usually you don't have to babysit it too much, and you get it up to temp, it'll shred real nicely and stuff. And again, if it's burnt on the outside, just use some sauce.
Yeah, that's right. You always got sauce.
Got sauce. Yeah.
So you have been involved in so much. I mean, you're cooking, you're developing your own flavors, your own spices. You have your own podcast. I'm just wondering, what's your biggest failure? And what did you learn from it?
Man, biggest failure. Like cooking, my biggest failure cooking.
Any direction
just
you
like
want
in
to
life
take
in general, you really want to go
No.
No,
let's go cooking.
Family podcast. Yeah, so man, I remember like one time like I got these like the French bread style pizzas. And I was like, my parents were coming into town. I was like, I'm gonna do these, right? Like something super cool, different, unique on the grill and stuff. And like, I remember it was colder. It was in the wintertime. And like, so I was grilling like in my garage. And like, so, you know, I got to go on outside and stuff and then, you know, dump the coal. I like filled this basket full, man. Cause I was like, oh, it's gotta be like, just like the oven. Right. And holy cow, like it shot up. I swear to God, it was like 550 degrees, 600. I was like, ooh, all right, well, it's warm. This is perfect. So I got those pizzas on and stuff. And like, it was so hot. It was so like everything on the outside was just burned to hell. And then like the inside still just like raw, just like going. Like, well, that's, you know, you can't save it. You can't come back from that and stuff. And like, I just remember like, well, the grills. Yeah, it's like, yeah, dip it in ranch. I don't know. That's what my kids do, I guess. So. Yeah. But it was like, man, there's no coming back from this one. You just kind of chalked it up, just like, all right, well, it's not the same as an oven, and it doesn't need to be. Like, you know, there's a lot to be said about low and slow. That's okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. You know, hot and fast isn't always it, let me tell you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It actually leads into this. This is the best part I love this question about our podcast, because we always seem to learn these little, because as you mentioned, like you talk to people and you're like, you learn little things here and there. Like everyone's got their own variations with whatever it might be that's going on. So like, is there like something like a tip or trick, like a lesser known one, or even something maybe that's popular that with grilling or smoking that you've learned over the years that you'd be willing to share with our listeners?
Yeah, sure. So, you know, like I said, like my biggest tip is like have patience with it. You know, you're gonna fail. Don't let it discourage you. It's fun. It's still a good time. Like I said, I screw up all the time. Like I can't tell you how many times like I cook something. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to talk about this. I'll usually like I'll text Greg because I'll be mad about it. I'm like, dude, I did it again. You did it again, man. And it's like he'll like, and of course, like I don't know why I text him because he always brings it up on the podcast. Like, so you text me Saturday night and you said you did this. Like, man. So, but like, yeah, my biggest thing was like have patience and just be prepared. Try and be prepared as possible. You know, whatever you're going into like your cook, right? So make sure you have enough fuel because done that before, you know, like I need, you know, my temps dropping, it's freezing outside. I go to the garage and I don't have any more charcoal. It's like, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, well, turn the oven on. But no, I mean, just like try and be prepared, you know, just be prepared. And like, I'd say one thing too that we've talked about is like if you're cooking for like a birthday party, Thanksgiving, Christmas, like one of those events, right? Give it a test run. Don't like let that first time be for that event. And I've done that. I've done that, and it's almost it's like you enjoy it, but not that much because the whole time you're like, oh, it's better. It's better. Oh man, this got a lot riding on this one right now, you know. So, but at the end of the day, you can always just order pizzas or something like that. But it's just, you know, that's kind of what I've learned the most. You know, go into it like thinking like, okay, what can go wrong? What do I need that I'm not thinking of, or like what is something that if I want this to turn out like this way, or you know, what am I missing? You know, and then it's good to have like a sounding board too. Like people like you guys are, you know, social media outlets like the Facebook pages and stuff. And like, man, you got so many people out here that are way better at grilling than I am, right? Just like just reach out, like just post that question out there and be like, hey, I'm gonna try this for the first time. Any tips? Right? Like, you know, and definitely like kind of know your grill, like know how that runs. Especially like I said, like, man, there's nothing worse on like than Thanksgiving and you're trying to do a turkey. And I'll be honest, like it'll go sideways. There's a chance that it'll happen, and just, you know, no one's dying from this, so life goes on.
Yeah. That's super interesting, Ben, because our last three guests that we've had on here has all talked about being able to control your temp, know your grill. Is how important it is.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a world of difference. Like I was just gone for a few weeks. And right before I left, I bought this new grill, and I was so excited. And I was just like, I'll just do some chicken breast, something easy. And like, my temp was all over the place and stuff, and I was like, I don't know how to use this thing. I was so frustrated right away, but I mean, it's just one of those things too. It takes time. And the more you sit and play with it and stuff, like the easier it gets. And I promise it does get easier and stuff. But just even if it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, you're just gonna have those days where it's just like, for whatever reason, nothing can go right. But then on the flip side, you have those days where like everything goes right and it lines up. You're just like, oh, that was sick, man. Like, that's why we do this. Like, hell yeah.
So Ben, you haven't mentioned this before, so I'm very interested in this. Our next question is, you know, we're all backyard barbecuers. You know, your podcast, you know, Grill to Get Away is all about hitting that grill up. And so what is your favorite thing you like to prepare on the grill, and why?
Oh man, my favorite thing. There's so many. Like I probably make chicken the most, but that's just more for like meal prep stuff. Cause like I said, the kids are always on the go with practices and running. It's just a quick, easy grab and go. And there's so many different things you can do with chicken. It's fairly easy and stuff, you know. And so I probably do chicken the most. But my favorite to grill.
Yeah, the Super Smoke Bros are coming over.
Okay, yeah, come on. If you guys are coming over, what I do? Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. If you guys are coming over,
Yeah.
all right. Man, I'd probably try and do like a couple of different things. Like I'd probably go. I love doing like the finger foods, like the grab and go stuff. So I'd probably do like some ribs and some wings. You know, just stuff that you can sit and grab and go. And like I've really loved lately. Been doing like a lot of like the party ribs. You know, where you know you're cutting them up ahead of time, like individually.
Yep.
So now your rub and your sauce is getting like all the way around it and stuff. It's on every single bite. And like my kids crush them. Like my kids, like one rack just doesn't cut it anymore, which like great. But that's, I mean, I'd probably just do something like that, man. And then, you know, just, I don't know. I'd probably try like a dessert, right? Like some kind of like a, like, let's see, what would like chocolate chip cookies or just something kind of simple like that. Just roll like a little cherry smoke on there and stuff. Just to hint this. It's, man, there's so many things you can do. Like you go through like these, it seems like you kind of go through like your ebbs and flows, right? Of just like, well, what's on sale? Like I'd say that's probably my favorite thing to cook is what's on sale. Like, what do I got in the freezer?
Yep.
You know? That's whatever I have on hand. But
what someone's talking about. Like,
exactly.
I'm making chocolate chip cookies tomorrow. All
right.
Sounds good.
I'm telling you, it's so crazy. Like there's so many things to do and stuff. Like this one lady talked about like doing like was like a rum brownies with like cherries in them. It was crazy. It was the craziest thing. And it's like, but then you try it, like you're just like, that was awesome. You know, it's like, I don't know. You kind of find like inspiration just from like getting to talk to people. And I have a ton of cookbooks. My wife's like, you really need to get another one. I was like, you don't know what's in there, right? Like, how am I supposed to know? It's for the business, you know? And like you go through those too, and it's like you find your recipes and you're reading the recipe and it's like, okay, cool, I really like this and stuff, but I'm going to tweak it like this. And then you kind of make it your own and stuff. And like I write all over these books. This was like, this is what I did. Don't do this again. Like, or try this next time and stuff. And so like, it just, like I said, it just really depends. You know, I like my kids, they taste test everything. You know, so a lot of times I'm like, hey guys, like, what should we do? You know, you know, if like corn on the cob's coming up, let's go get some ears of corn. Let's smoke a bunch of corn this weekend and see where it goes. Right. Like, I don't know, man. Like I wouldn't say there's like one thing I love to do like the most. Like some days I'm just like, oh, let's do like a pork roast or something, or a chuck roast, or let's run with just do like a beer can chicken and stuff. Like just like you said, you come out to events and you talk to people and like you hear ribs, and you're just like, oh no, I'm gonna do ribs. You know, I'll do ribs sometime this week. And just, okay, shoot.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, and then our last question for this portion of our podcast. You kind of talked about what led you to Burn Pit BBQ. So, what is kind of the most rewarding aspect of running Burn Pit BBQ, and especially when you consider, you know, the origins and your commitment to giving back to the veteran community and things like that? What's the most rewarding part of it?
I mean, the most rewarding to me is, I mean, you get to meet so many cool people. Like really, like you know, you get to talk barbecue every day with guys that are, but just anybody who's willing to try like new things and stuff like that. It's so fun. You really can't have like too many bad conversations and stuff. And even like, I can't tell you how many people come up to the booth and like, they'll try everything, right? Like they'll try every single rub, every sauce. And then at the end, they're like, oh, well, I make my own. Hell yeah. Cool. What do you do? Let me know what you do. Like, you just tried all of our stuff. Like, what do you like? Are any of these similar to like what you have? And if not, cool. Like and why do you do what you do? So it's kind of just the same thing as like, going through this podcast and asking these questions back and forth and stuff. But like, I mean, that's pretty fun. And I mean, we do get a lot of vets that come up and talk to us, and then they're always willing to share their story. So, it's like, oh, you get a little bit, it kind of keeps like that camaraderie alive a little bit outside of like being in the service and stuff. And so you get to meet like just even, a lot of cool people that way as well. And, like, I was in, whether it's Vietnam and, kind of the more like modern era stuff like that. I mean, you talk to so many people and they're always willing to come up. Like majority of the time they'll come up and they'll talk to you and not even buy anything. And that's fine. Like just come up and just be like, they'll just talk military stuff, or they'll be like, oh, that's so cool you guys do this and stuff. And we try and invite as many people as we can out to like the competition and just for that, it's just so they can come out and like still be around, because like a lot of vets will come out to that and just get them out and about and kind of get them, whether they're in the barbecue world or not. Like there's so much that you can just bring a whole group of people into one small space just around barbecue, right? So it's always a good time.
Yeah, definitely. That's what, like we talked about at MeatFest, that's what we love, is just talking barbecue with people. It's so awesome.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and like no one's stories are the same. Everyone tries something different, which is that's like the best part. And like everyone's like, oh, how do you guys have a food truck? Like, no, man, like because how you cook the meats and stuff is different than how I cook them, and you're gonna tell me about it. Like I know you're gonna tell me like, oh, you need to flip it. Like, well, this is mine. I'm not flipping it yet. So and that's just how it is. But that's why we decided not to kind of go the food route, and like we just here's this stuff, you cook how you want to cook it.
That's awesome. So our next portion here, Ben, is what we call a sizzle round, and come to find out, like Amy from MeatFest, she was like, she's listened to all our episodes. She's like, it's my favorite part. I love it. Yes, it's her favorite part because she gets just because it's like questions that that everyone can relate to, and so we kind of leave it up to you. You can rapid fire this, or we have some that just give an answer and we go to the next one, and we have some that have a story after each one. So it's kind of up to you. It's you will ask you the question, you just go with your answer. You can have more than one answer too. It's just kind of things that everyone can relate to. So with that being said, I think Petey, you're going to start us off with our sizzle round.
All right, here we go. First question is favorite cut of meat to barbecue.
Oh man, it's so funny because I just printed this off like a half hour before we jumped on, and I asked my son, I was like, dude, what would you say? Like, what do you think I should say for this? And he's like, I don't know, Dad. he's 8, so we're still working on like, we'll do like pork, and he'll be like, wow, this is good chicken, Dad. I'm like, pork, steak, and he'll be like, oh, it's like, man, my favorite cut, like I honestly, like probably like lately, I think my favorite one has probably been the chuck roast. I've been doing a lot of those. They're a lot cheaper than brisket.
Yeah.
They're easy to play with. They're not too bad. There's a lot you can do with them. You can season them a bunch of different ways. Like I said, I don't know. It's kind of been my like more expensive cut, I guess. That it's really not expensive. It's a fair price for the cut, and I feel like it's a good quality cut. So that's probably what I would say is like lately has been my favorite one to kind of put on.
Nice.
All right, next one is favorite rub.
Oh man, if I could, like, it's funny because we talked about this on the podcast one time. Like, if you could just have like one thing, like, what would you use? And I'm like, oh, pepper. Just pepper. Like for me, though, I'd probably go like an SPG, like just that salt, pepper, garlic, and stuff. It's one again. If I'm stranded on like an island somewhere and that's all I've got, like I'll be okay.
That's old school, never fails. That's something.
Yeah. Like it's just it's there's something to me about just like simplicity. Like it doesn't have to be some crazy over the top, and like that's fun, but sometimes too, it's just like just simple at times is just so easy, right? It's just then there's a lot to be said about that.
For sure. Favorite side to prepare?
Oh man, favorite side to prepare. Favorite side to prepare. That's a tough one. I'd say probably goes hand in hand with like this next question too, I guess. But I'll go mac and cheese. Like I love doing mac and cheese. It's one of my the kids just crush it too.
Yeah.
Like I've started kind of doing like I've looked up into like kind of like the beer cheese recipes. So then I'll do like that for like kind of to put on the mac and cheese. So you get more of like kind of a little bit of that hint of like the beer flavor in there as well and stuff. And it's just, man, it's there's in one of the books I have, it's by Rodney Scott, and he uses like cream of chicken soup in there, and it's awesome.
Yes.
Like, so I started doing that, and it's just these little tips that you just pick up along the way. And like in his book, he says, you know, to get don't use like the already pre like grated cheese, like get your own block and grate yourself, because all the other stuff is full of cornstarch, so it doesn't melt like together as well and stuff. So it's like, all right, well, that's awesome. Like it's like little things like that you pick up along the way that just make life a little bit easier. And it changes. It's a game changer and stuff. But like I said, I mean, when like the book, like in Rodney's book, he doesn't use beer or anything. I was like, well, we live in Wisconsin. Like, beer good, cheese good. You know, why not?
You know what you got to try in that?
What's that?
Cream of jalapeno.
I was just gonna say it.
I'll do red pepper flakes in there and stuff too. But no, I like that idea too. Like and the kids can handle some spice a touch too. I just won't tell them it's in there.
Yeah.
And if they don't like it, you know, more for me too. You know, it's a win-win.
So Ben, there's a little inside joke. I have like cream of jalapeno for everything. I put it in my mac and cheese, everything. And so the guys, and I use Dr. Pepper with everything for my pork. And the guys, you hear it come up in the podcast throughout. And then, so I knew, as soon as you said cream of chicken, I knew where Berlin was going right away.
You can't get it within a 25-mile radius of Z's house.
I'm sure. He's got it stocked up in his basement, the bomb shelter. He's ready to go.
Ready for the market sales.
Well, I'll be up for a duck tuna here in a couple weeks. If we got some down, I'll make sure.
I won't be, but I have some of my football players and stuff will be at duck tuna and things like that. So cool, awesome. So I'm guessing mac and cheese is your favorite side to eat.
Yeah. I mean, or like a cornbread too. You can't go wrong with like a cornbread. Like even too, like with I'll just grab a can of like bush beans in like the Bush's baked beans and throw it in like a cast iron, and then throw a little bit of our like traditional barbecue sauce and then some sweet heat in there too. So it gives you like a little bit of that barbecue flavor, and just let it ride. And, I mean, it's so simple, right? Like they did all the work for you. I'm just kind of adding a little bit of barbecue flair to it.
Yeah.
And stuff.
The kiss method,
Yeah. But it's just like, you're modifying it, right? Like, there's so many great sides out there. I mean, you could talk sides all day.
You could.
A little sausage in there, a little meat or sausage in there.
Exactly. Yeah. Just some smoked sausage and stuff like that. What was it? Who was like passing out meats at like the end of the MeatFest there?
Oh yeah, Salmon.
Yeah, so they gave me some of those little meat sticks, and I chopped some of those up, and I put those in there and stuff. And they gave me like the bourbon ones too. It's fantastic.
Ooh, nice.
Add the smoky barbecue ones. Great.
Yeah. You can't go wrong. Like I said, I talked to this one lady about mac and cheese, and she's like, "Oh, I have my recipe down pat," but it's never the same. It's never the same. Like, that's awesome. That that makes it fun.
It does.
Next question is preferred smoker or grill?
Oh man. I'd probably say like my 22-inch Weber. I've done like it's never steered me. Oh, I can't say that. It usually does pretty well. I can't blame the grill most of the time. It's probably me. But I probably like the 22-inch Weber kettle. The new grill I just got recently is it's from Spider Grills, called the Huntsman, and that has it's got one of the like the venom packs that goes underneath it, so like kind of puffs air up into it. Like it's crazy. It's nuts. And so it's kind of like the Kamado style. It's real big. It's like 5 millimeters thick. It's like this thing holds temp it's insane. It's a tank, and it comes in like 3 different boxes to set it up. But so I've been playing on that quite a bit more, to be honest. But just because it's it's a new toy, it's something nice and new. I'll probably stick with the Weber, the kettle, the most. That's awesome. I mean, it's just your classic grill,
for sure.
Z had a great tip at one of the sessions we did at the MeatFest. He said, throw a welding blanket over your smoker to keep the heat in there.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, for me, I bought this one smoker when I quit my job, and it was like a, you know, kind of like a parting gift, and it was I was like, yeah, you don't need to buy this expensive smoker and stuff, man. That thing doesn't hold temp. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's like I need that welding blanket just to
Yeah.
toss it over, just to kind of, it makes a difference. I'll say that.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Preferred smoking temp.
Oh man, I pretty much kind of like to hover around anywhere from like 250 up to 300 max. You know, especially after the whole, you know, pizza debacle and stuff. But yeah, it depends on like what I'm cooking and stuff. Like I you know, in some of Steven Reichling's books and stuff, he has like you know, Project Fire, and that one he takes like a steak and he puts it right on top of the coals. And I tried that last summer, and that was pretty cool. It's like very primal grilling and stuff like that. So, but like you want it real nice and hot and stuff. And so, I mean, that one was probably, you know, well above 400 because you're just going like almost like a minute per side, and you're kind of rotating it quickly throughout and then flipping it. So I like it again, it depends like what I'm cooking, but for the most part, I want to be out there. Like if I'm going to light the grill up, I want to be out there, you know, I want to be out there for a while, you know, to enjoy the cook. So typically kind of that 250 to 300 spots about where I kind of hang out.
Nice.
Preferred wood to smoke with.
I probably use pecan the most. It's just what I have. It's, you know, I always like the apple. I think apple is probably one of my favorites and stuff, but I think, you know, pecan or like hickory, they're just the ones I kind of end up grabbing the most because it pairs with probably the most cuts of meat and stuff. So that's kind of, and I kind of, you know, I don't want it to be like a huge, thick, heavy smoke and stuff. I just want it to have like just like that little subtle taste. Yep. Because as my wife tells me, not everything needs to be smoked.
Oh, I heard that too.
I own a barbecue, so it's like, well, that's all right though. But yeah, so like I said, if I go, I like to kind of like the lighter smokes.
Preferred pit master to work with. Probably like Greg, right?
No. Yeah. Let's see.
Or so maybe Greg, follow. Favorite pit master to follow.
Favorite pit master to follow. Man, there's so many. Like I don't know. I probably follow like Steven Reichling the most. Like it was like the first books I ever got were his.
Yeah,
and he's got a lot of options out there too. He's got some cool recipes, and he just does a lot of different stuff. So probably him. But like I mean, like I said, I've got you know books from Myron Mixon. I think a lot of stuff that he does is cool, and he's more more on like the competition side and stuff. So but it's really interesting to see like what he does or how he cooks things. And he's been a world champion multiple times. So how do you not like you know get excited about reading his stuff? And but then you know I mentioned like Rodney Scott, even like Aaron Franklin, like he you know with his restaurants and stuff like that. It's a whole different style of cooking and stuff. And now you're cooking for like the masses, and like that to me is just like that's a lot. You know, I struggle. I'm cooking for 4 of us. You know, it's like I didn't be cooking for a bunch of people all day long. That's pretty cool. That's a whole other level. So
you better have your game on doing that. You don't make a mistake doing that.
Yeah. So I mean, I know you guys are all like kind of in the coaching world and stuff like that. I don't know if you know, the Oak Creek football coach who he just retired and stuff, but his son graduated. I think it was like 3 years ago now, and his wife was my daughter's like 2nd grade teacher. And so he reached out to us to do like his son's like graduation party. And we did a pig and 30 chickens. And then it was sick. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was a solid day. And like we started, like I picked everything up about 4 o'clock in the morning and got the grill rolling, you know, by like 4:45, and it was on this big rotisserie. And so we had to do the pig first, and we got the pig like 90% done, and then we waited to do the chickens when we got there. So everything's just on this huge spit, and just that was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean that's kind of a fun one that Greg and I did. But it's few and far between for us to kind of cook like that. But yeah, cooking for a lot of people, it's a whole nother level.
Yep.
All right, now we're gonna get a little spicy here. Favorite streaming stations or music to listen to when barbecuing?
Oh man, I'm a big Tom Petty fan.
Nice.
So usually, like, when I'm outside, like it's you know I'll be listening to like some Tom or kind of some kind of like rock and roll like that, and just just hang out. But that's probably what I listen to the most, like, because by the time I'm cooking, like I don't really want to listen to like a grill podcast, because by that time, like I'm already in it and like I'm gonna make mistakes and I'm gonna get in my own head, like, well, maybe I should do this. It's like, nah, don't overthink it, keep it simple and stuff. So that's where I'll just kind of like just turn on some music and just let it ride. Nice. But then usually my kids come out and they're like, Dad, can we listen to something else? I can get back and stuff.
Yes.
All right. And then the big one for everybody from Wisconsin, favorite beverage to hold while smoking or barbecuing?
Oh man. I'm probably just the beer. I'd probably just keep it simple. Honestly, it's probably Coors Light. Just, basically, hydrating at that point and just, I don't want to start too heavy too quick, because, by the end of the cook and stuff, it's like everything tastes good at that point, So, yeah. I'll probably just let it roll with like some Coors Lights or something like that.
That's awesome. Well, Ben, that concludes our interview today. So to end our interview, do you want to let maybe our fans in and your fans into what you and Greg have coming up next before we sign off?
Yeah. So like I said, we'll be up in your neck of the woods here, coming up in early July. Up in for Ducktona, and then kind of right after that we'll be out at Rib Fest in Elkhorn. So if you guys haven't come to that one's pretty cool. I recommend coming down to that. There's a lot of there's a lot of competition teams that usually they have like 13 different like food trucks out there, and you can try. It's free to get in, but the food's expensive. But you can try them all. If you want to, and they've got a bunch of great sides and stuff like that too. As long as you're there early enough, sometimes they run out of stuff and just is what it is. But that one's always pretty cool. It's a good time, a lot of people and stuff. And then we'll roll eventually into State Fair, and then we got our competition, and that. Sadly, it kind of wraps up the summer, as as quickly as that sounds. Like we're just getting started here, but that'll kind of kick us into the fall at that point.
How did you get hooked up with Ducktona?
I was going to ask about Ducktona too.
Yeah,
I'm a Falls native. Like I grew up in Sheboygan Falls, so
honestly, I kind of, when we first started, we were just looking at kind of almost like any events that we could really get into. And that one, it's a really easy one. It's just a single day, quick hitter. You can go up and come home in the same day. Setup's awesome out there. I mean, the people are great. The first year I did it, like it was just like I just did that one by myself. Maybe Greg went with me, but then after that, like I've gone out by myself, and like, man, like my wife and kids come with me, and it's so like just family friendly and family oriented and stuff. And then you got like a front end loader that's just dumping 1,000 ducks in the river and stuff like. So man, it just honestly just kind of by chance just fell into it, and it's been one of my favorite events to go to every year since. Like I said, like they didn't have it last year. They got canceled because I guess
it rained out.
Yeah, it got rained out real bad. It was flooding out there. So
it was.
But,
maybe I'll get you in the dunk tank, Ben.
Sure. Yeah, sign me up. Sign me up. So you'll have to run the booth. You'll run the booth for me. I'll go in the dunk tank. Is the water warm or is it cold? It's kind of depends.
Yeah,
I think it's warm.
Okay. All right, now I'm in.
We're just telling you it's warm.
Yeah, thanks.
So you have
it's plenty deep too, right? Like I'm not just gonna come and crash on the bottom, man.
Don't tank into the Sheboygan River.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jeez, it's real nice and clean in there, isn't it?
Yeah. We just have a similar booth to what you had at MeatFest at Ducktona.
Yeah. Like honestly, we just keep it real simple. Like we'll put a tent up and stuff, but yeah, just I have a couple of tables. Come out with just a bunch of product and stuff, and just same thing, same concept. Just like I say, even up there too, like so many people grill and barbecue and stuff, and it's really fun because like at these events they're like, oh well, we didn't have this last year. Like, oh, I just ran out. I had like this much left. I only put it on one pork chop and stuff. Like, well, you can go online. We'll mail it to you, but we're here. So I'm glad you're here. No, it works out. But it's always, like I said, Ducktona is always a good time. I think between like my wife and kids. I'm not sure how much money we actually make on that one. It's like, but no, it's like they got like the bounce houses, they got the petting zoo, all the animals and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of great other vendors out there. They got the car show going and stuff too. I mean, they got, I mean, tons of food. I think they got sometimes bands and stuff. I mean, it's a really cool event. I always love coming up for that one.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure some of us will see you there.
I hope so. Yeah, come on out. Like I said, it's, I've never bought a duck, but this might be the year. I don't know about the odds though. I don't. It's the way that like it just narrows right down and stuff. It's like it's pretty cool. And then the one year I think it was flowing the wrong way, so it's like, I don't know what they did, but they were like, oh yeah, I don't think anyone won. They were all going the opposite direction. That was pretty funny.
Well, Ben, we're going to let you sign off. We always sign off with smoke on, but if there's something you want to or sign off in your own way that you do on your podcast and end with smoke on, or something you want to mention or any advice before you say smoke on, it's completely up to you, my good man. So whenever you are ready, you can end our podcast tonight.
No, I appreciate it. I always just kind of tell people like, hey, like just get out and grill, and we'll throw in smoke on, baby.